Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda. It is kind of late at night, but it's time to start another round or another video of Book Quest TBR. So I've already started this round. Let me get out of the way a little bit, and you can see that we are on the green path. We have just finished right here. So we don't have that much further to go, but if I roll a 1 one more time, which I have been rolling ones in this game. So if I roll a 1, we get to flip a coin and see if I go to Self-Care Lake or not. I'm very excited about it. So let's hope that I roll a 1. Okay, so when I click on the D4, it's going to roll. No! How come it's been on a 1 so many times? I feel like it's either hit a 1 or a 4, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's green number 13 and a bucket list. First letter, last letter. And let's look at the winter bucket list. Now, I've already gotten a 1 and I got a 10. So not a 1 or a 10. I'm actually just going to roll. Oh, wait, what is it? There's 15 of them on here. What do I have? I have a 20. Let's just see if I get between 1 and 15. If not, I'll go do a random number generator. Hey, number 6. There we go. Make a heart craft. Oh, that'd be cute. Okay, so I have to make some kind of heart craft. I did hang up my snowflakes, but you can't even see them in the video. I was like, what was I thinking? They're back here. They're behind me. So I'm going to make the heart craft and I'll hang it up there, even though it's March 2nd, but that's okay. The whole point was to land on some of them at some point. So the way first letter, last letter works is I finished The Keeper of Lost Things, and that ends with an S. So I have to start a book or read a book that starts with an S. And you don't have to count the or a or something like that at the beginning. I already see that I have A Sorceress Comes to Call. And that might be the only one, because this is RMMSPCLJT, no F, RFBEYFTNGFCL, which means A Sorceress Comes to Call is going to be up next. I'm really happy about that because that's actually one of the ones that I need to read for the month of March. These are my need to read books that I'm trying to do for the bingo board, and A Sorceress Comes to Call is right over here on the bingo board. So that's fantastic. All right, so let me make it small. There we go. Put it right there. And again, just like we did in the first one, I'm probably going to read 4 to 5 books, and I'll check in with you as I read some of A Sorceress Comes to Call. I'm excited to go to a fantasy after I feel like I've read quite a bit of historical fiction, and I just want something different. So it's going to be nice to go read a fantasy. I'll check in a little bit. So I just recorded me rolling, and I have my microphone muted. So here's the quick replay of what just happened as it's going on the screen right now. I came in here. I'm almost finished with A Sorceress Comes to Call. I am sick, so I cannot be chatting. I can't tell you about the book other than the fact that I'm loving it. So once I can talk, I will come back and describe it more to you. Anyway, I rolled a 3. A 3 put me on number 16 green, which is a 50 before 50 book. And I went over and read that book. Oh, I'm about to cough. No, I'm good. I went over and picked a 50 before 50 book, and I had a few options, but one of them was on Libby, and I've already checked it out, and it's due in 10 days. So I'm going to be reading that. It's The Next Maisie Dobbs, which is a historical mystery, and that's all I can say right now. I'll be back when I'm not sick to tell you about it, or possibly I'll be back to roll again before I'm not sick, but I don't know. I'll see you in a little while. Okay, I can talk a little bit more. And I've got to talk about A Sorceress Comes to Call. Y'all, it was so stinking good. I'm giving it 5 stars. What? This was T. Kingfisher is moving on up my list of authors that I love. This book is so good. I said this over in the Discord, but if you're not a character reader, if you're not following the characters and you're all about some plot, maybe this is not the book for you. It's not that long, but it's long for T. Kingfisher, number one. And
It doesn't have a lot of plot. It does definitely have a storyline and things move, but it's slower paced. Perfect. Perfect for me. Y'all, Richard. If you have read this book and you do not love Richard, we are going to fight, okay? We are going to have a fight down below. I almost teared up at the one point. If you've read this, you know what the point is. When Richard looks at Hester in her face and says, "It's always been there." Like, what? The offer has always been there. Oh my gosh. I'm in love with Richard. I'm sorry. I'm in love with Richard. Maybe it's because I was sick and I just wanted somebody to take care of me, and I feel like Richard would be the one. Okay? I'm in love with Richard. The end. I never have a book boyfriends, but if I get to pick one, it's Richard from A Sorceress Comes to Call. Forever and always. Even though he wrote a whole book about culverts and how culverts work. I mean, I've always loved a geeky boy too, so that's fine. Anyway, I am now reading The Mapping of Love and Death. So good. As always, I love the Maisie Dobbs stories. They're never just a mystery. There's always some kind of behind the scenes thing that is dragged along and just feels so heavy and makes things just so serious. So that is still the case in this one as well, but it's so good. I also realized that A Sorceress Comes to Call is technically just inside the 50 before 50 forest, but because I was doing first letter, last letter, there wasn't one in my 50 before 50. So let's just pretend like it's fine. It doesn't matter because that book was amazing. So now I'm reading The Mapping and I'm almost done. So I'm going to get out of the way and we're going to go ahead and roll again. My little dice roller, not the D6. We want a D4. 2 more spaces. 18, and I land on a bucket list. Okay, 18 green is a graphic novel. That's perfect because today I was doing reading sprints on my channel because I still cannot talk, as you can tell. And I started reading Nothing Special, which is on my TBR. So let me go over here and grab it from right here and put it over here. Nope, right there. Okay, so that is going to be my next book. I'm almost finished with The Mapping of Love and Death. And I haven't said this yet, but it's about a cartographer in World War I. He was actually an American, but his dad was a British citizen, and he was in America, and he found out that Britain had declared war, and he was like, okay, I'm going to go fight. Like, they need cartographers. They need people to help them map. So he was lost in the war somewhere in France, and new things have come to light now about 15 years later or 10 years later. I don't know, later. And so now Maisie is having to investigate. So that's what's going on with that one. So good. It's book 7 in the series, so I can't really say a lot other than it's Maisie and she's solving mysteries. But there's so many other things that go on behind the scenes. It's really good too, but I cannot stop thinking about Richard in A Sorceress Comes to Call. I might have to reread that book. I never reread. Anyway, we'll see. But the next one is the graphic novel. Oh, and the winter bucket list. Wesley, pick a number 1 to 16. 8? 8. Okay, so I have to watch a romance movie. And I do still need to make my heart craft. So maybe I'll watch a romance and make a heart craft at the same time. That sounds like a good thing for me to do tomorrow when I'm still feeling a little bit sickly. So maybe I'll do that in the morning. When I wake up, I'll just find me a little romance movie to watch and make my heart craft. I've got some colored paper over here beside me, so I'll get that. Okay, I've been talking for too long. I'm going back over here. I'm going to keep listening to my book, and I'm going to read the graphic novel. I got through like the very beginning part of this today. So I only got like 53 pages, and there's 153 pages. So a third of the way through this one roughly. And yeah, that's it. I will check in with y'all when I finish mapping Love and Death. As long as I can still talk, I'll come chat with y'all. Otherwise, I'll come when I finish Nothing Special Volume 2. I'll be back either way. Okay, I finished Nothing Special. I haven't even moved my little guy onto Nothing Special, but I finished it. It was so good. I even left this
very last page open. Right here it says, hey, a cliff. Better hang on to it. And then it says, you mean we have to wait for the next book to see what happens? No. So cute. Definitely ended on a cliffhanger for volume 2. I pre-ordered volume 2 and it took me almost a year to read it. So I will be going and finding volume 3 as well because now I own volumes 1 and 2 at my house and I want to continue getting them. So if you want something that is cute, magical, and like maybe human that doesn't know that they're magical, then it's perfect. Great drawings, and the artwork is just beautiful inside. I love it so much. And then there's the radish that is everything. So, okay, this is where I am. I've done 3 books for this, so we will see what I roll. Oh, and you can see my heart craft is behind me. I made a heart craft. Also, I watched a romance. This is what's so funny is the day that I rolled to do this last time, my cousin sent me and my other cousin, her sister, a group text, and she said, I'm introducing my daughter to this. And she played the opening, the opening song of 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. I'm going to put this up here. Now, I know I've talked about it when I talked about the 7 Brides for 7 Alien Brothers series and how much I loved this when I was a kid. Well, I have not seen it in years. And then I rolled to watch a romance and then she did that. And this is like the ultimate romance. And I was like, okay, I'm watching this as my romance. And I watched that movie and I thought, oh, like the stereotypes and the like ingrained gender roles that are in that movie are so funny, like to look back on and go, wow. But anyway, I watched it. So I watched the romance. I made my heart craft. I love the heart craft. I honestly just took a bunch of colored paper and cut out hearts and glued them all on the page and hung it up there with my magnets. I love it. Okay. So let me get my dice and we're going to do a D4, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, the last green. So green 21, dice page number. Okay, thankfully, I still have the page numbers over here. I am almost finished reading The Magician's Daughter, so that needs to go away. But this is what I have left on Libby, then this one. So at least I have all the page numbers for most things. Some of the new things that are out, I don't have them for. And I went ahead and added the Rag Picker King. Oh, I'm in the way. Let me move over here. I went ahead and added the Rag Picker King back because I pre-ordered that on Audible, so I own it. So I was like, let me just go ahead and get it since I own it. Okay, so it looks like the largest book I have, I finished this and did not remove it. 424 pages is Tower of Dogs. So that's it, is a 400-page book. So I think I'm just going to roll a D4 then. And if it's a 1, then I read a 100. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do a D6, okay? And if it is a 1, then I'm going to read things less than 100. If it's a 2, I'm going to read up to 200. If it's a 3, up to 300. If it's a 4, up to 400. If it's a 5, up to 500. And then if it's a 6, I'm going to re-roll. Okay? That's what we're going to do. I'm kind of out of the way, so here we go. It's a 4. So between 3 and 400. All right. That is Jefferson's Sons, A Fire at the Exhibition, The Rose and the Thorn, Game On. Let me see how many pages is On a Quiet Street. Wait, I have it right here. I don't think it's 300 pages. Oh, it's 300 pages. Okay, and I do, oh wait, maybe it's not. That's the prologue of the next book. Oh, it's 304 pages. And I do need to read this for the, before the end of the month for the readathon, which we can look at that really quickly, even though that's not part of what I'm doing. We can see my thing here. I just finished this one. So now I have one right there. And On a Quiet Street is the group book, and I have to read it by the end of the thing. So I think I'm going to pick that one. I've already got it checked out on Libby, and I have this book, this right here. So in the background, you can see I've been reading The Magician's Daughter I've been listening to that while I was reading Nothing Special. So now I'm just going to move to On a Quiet Street. And I do still have Soul Taming the Serpent, although right now I don't know where it is. This is my problem with reading physical books, is that I put them down somewhere and I lose them. But for Soul Taming the Serpent, I have to start reading like 15 pages a day or something like that, because I got a little bit of a head start when we were gone on our trip. Maybe it's in my purse. Oh my gosh, I got to find this book before I can focus on anything else. But maybe while I look for it, I will read On a Quiet Street. So I'm starting that one. If you're following me on Goodreads, it already says that I'm reading it, but I only read it during like one sprint the other day. And then I was like, no, I'm good. I'm going to go do something else. Although things are picking up in the book. So I am excited to keep going. But that is it for this check-in. I will be back. Let's see where we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left. 7 spots left. So I think what I will do is go ahead and read as many things as I need to read to finish this round of the game, because I don't want to read one more book to have 5 books and then be like, okay, I'll come back in the next one and read like 1 book. So we'll just go ahead and wrap it up in this one. So after On a Quiet Street, then I will roll and we'll read something else. But that is where we are right now. I'm really excited about it, how things have been going. I've had some really good reads this month so far, and I'm very excited about what is to come for the rest of the month. So I'll check back in with you in just a little bit. Okay, it is 12:30 in the morning, because that's how time works. And I finished On a Quiet Street. I read this book predominantly physically, which is not something that I normally do, but I really needed it to be over. Okay, there's a couple of things. First of all, I realized that I never talked about the mapping of love and death. So let me say that quickly. It was about Maisie solving solving the connection of this guy who died during the war, and they found him and his group. They were cartographers, so they were making maps, and their whole unit pretty much got killed. There was one person who just before they all got killed, he had gotten injured. And so our guy had taken him, like rescued him, and he was healing in a hospital. So he wasn't there when the rest of the unit got killed. So we do have him that Maisie can ask questions to once she tracks him down. But they have now uncovered the bodies of the people, like they were found. And there were letters with our guy and a diary as well. And so she was able to read all that, piece everything together, and figure out who the mystery nurse was that had been writing to him during the war, and also figure out what connection he had to some other things that are happening in the Maisie novels. So that was really good. Same as every Maisie. So good. I loved it so much. Then I read Nothing Special, Volume 2. And I think I talked about what was happening in there, but it's just a continuation of Volume 1, except we learned something in Volume 1 about one of our main characters. I'm trying not to give anything away. And so the thing that we learn has a little bit of a problem in the second book. And so they have to go on kind of a quest to find a healer / fairy person that can help them with this problem. So that's what the second book is. And then I had to read On a Quiet Street. This is the group book for Spring into Reading-a-thon, which is happening this month. Otherwise, I would not have read this book. I got almost exactly 50 pages in when I was sprinting on Amy's channel, and I thought, I don't want to read this anymore. And then I thought, all right, you're going to have to, because I'm a little bit competitive and I didn't want to lose my bingo board, filling in the board. So I needed to read this book. And so then I got 100 pages in and I was like, I don't want to read this book. I sent a message to Amy and Melanie and I said, I am not liking this book. the characters are not likable to me. I am so character driven that I have to have somebody to root for. Even if I feel like they're the bad guys, I still need to be able to root for them. And this was not giving me that until I was going to make a list and like write down, not a list, but I was going to write down the exact chapter where I was like, here's where things turned around. And it happened somewhere around chapter 24, about 200 pages in, when somebody finally gets the confrontation that I wanted from the very, very beginning. I still don't know that was enough. That was enough for me to finish the book and give it a 2.5. And I'm not giving it a 2.5 because of the writing. But I was thinking about this because I thought maybe I don't want to rate it because the writing in here is good. Like I do not have an issue at all with the story, with the twists that are in here and the connections between the people, because ultimately it's just about 3 different women that live in the same neighborhood, like on the same street. And so I was like, I'm not going to rate this. But then I decided to rate it because part of me rating books is to find books that I love and types of books that I love. And reading about marriages imploding and spouses cheating on each other. And I just, no, that is not anything I have ever wanted to read about. It's not anything I've ever wanted to watch. It is the main reason that I have never seen Grey's Anatomy TV show. And I don't want to read about it in a book. So I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. I thought that the mystery part of it was the only thing that saved it. And I wouldn't have given it a chance. I wouldn't have read it at all. I would have just straight DNF'd it if it were not a required book for me to read this month. So I'm glad that I finished it because I also picked it for one of my girls to move along the path over here, right here. It was my book on this one to get Adrian to move forward. So I've officially finished both books for this month that I needed to read for them. And over here, I can put a little mark that said, I finished this. I also felt like it was sad. Like I could have put it in the sad. It made me feel sad. And somebody in here started crying, and he was a sweetheart. He was the only character in this whole thing that I even liked. And there were moments where he had me questioning it. But he got sad and he started crying, and I was like, no, because that was going to make me sad. So anyway, that's what my bingo board looks like right now. I do have self-care planned. In a couple of days, I'm going to get a massage, but that does not matter. What matters is the rest of this game. So let me pull up my dice roller, roll my D4, and let's see what it's going to be. A 2. Okay, so that is right there and right there. That is blue, number 16, the longest book, longest length. Of course it is. Of course it is. Okay, so when I go over here and look, let me take off this on a quiet street. I need to see how long these 3 books are. I'm sure they're not going to be the longest, but I just need to have all the numbers in here. I mean, Rag Picker King might be. It's 480 pages. And Buffalo Hunter is 448 pages. Wow. How long is Finley Donovan Digs Her Own Grave? 320. I was like, it has to be short, right? Okay. 320. Okay. So 480 is the longest book, and it is the Rag Picker King. And so that's what I'm going to be reading. I've pre-ordered it from Audible. So let me go put it over here. And there we go. And I will check back. I'm all caught up with everything I've finished reading, and I've told y'all about all of it. So now it's just a matter of reading the Rag Picker King and telling you about that. And then hopefully just one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can roll a 5 or a 6. Well, a 6 means I don't have to read any more books. A 5 means I do have to read one more book. But we'll see what I get. Oh, I'm rolling a D4. So never mind. There will at least be one more book, maybe 2, to finish this out. So I'll be back to check in when I read some of this book. Y'all, I am going to have to DNF this Cassandra Clare book. I moved my little person off of here so I could look at it. It was supposed to be the longest book. I cannot force myself to read this book. I have read 2 books in the middle of trying to read this book, and I can't do it. So I'm moving Buffalo Hunter over there, and that's what I'm going to read. I've already started it. I actually started it today, and I really like it. And I was like, see, I knew I should have just put Stephen Graham Jones and left that book alone. And then it would have worked. And that's the problem, is that it wasn't Stephen Graham Jones. I'm just kidding. Here was the deal. Number 1, I think I am definitely not in a fantasy mood right now. That's the first thing. The second thing is I am not, let me make this smaller. I'm sorry. I'm easily distracted until I get this situated. Okay, now let me talk about that book. Okay. I'm not in a fantasy mood, number 1. Number 2, I do not care about what's going on with the characters in here. I remember when I read it the first time and I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. I'm sure that I gave it 4 stars because I used to give everything 4 stars. It had to be a really bad book for me to give it a 3 star. So I'm just going to be done. I'm sad that I spent one of my Audible credits on it, but it's done and it's over. And the only thing I have to do is I have to replace this over here, which is Road Trip, which literally means an audiobook. So anything that I have already read, I can put there and I get to count it. So I read this on audio. So Love Her or Lose Her gets added right here. And there we go. It gets a thing on it. So I literally have Buffalo Hunter, which I'm almost finished. Well, I'm not almost finished. I started it today. I still have 7 hours left. And then Lethal Bayou Beauty and Full Metal Alchemist. And I'm done with my bingo board. I'm really happy about it. I am just going to put this here and just say DNF. That way I will at least know that I have decided to DNF it. And I'm not going to make it big since I didn't finish it. But this is my second page of books. See, I read both of these books after I started this one because I couldn't make myself do it. I read, they're both cozy mysteries. Different cozy mysteries, but still. So anyway, now I'm moving over to Buffalo Hunter, and when I finish it, I will come back and report in to y'all, and I will spin again, and we will finish up this game. But I just couldn't do it. I'm sorry. I just couldn't. So I hate to DNF, but I had to. Okay. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, y'all. I finished reading Buffalo Hunter last night. It was so good. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. I don't know. Okay, I can tell you all about it a little bit. So we are in 2012, I think, is the present timeline. And there is a woman who is an academic. She's a professor, and she is working on a proposal of some kind that she needs to do. Anyway, that part is not really important, except that her great grandfather, which she calls him her greatest grandfather, he was a Lutheran minister in Montana in 1912, and he has written a diary about the things that happened there in 1912. And somebody that was renovating the house that he lived in, the parsonage thing, found the diary, and they have given it to her. So we get this story told to us through his diary entries. If you listen to this on audio, it's fantastic because there are multiple narrators. So when we're having her talk, there's a narrator. When her granddad is writing in his journal, there's a narrator. And when her granddad is being told a story from the Buffalo Hunter, it is in a different voice, a different narrator. So it's so well done. I really liked the audio. And as always, Stephen Graham Jones reads the acknowledgments parts or the author's note at the end, and it's always the best. I think he does a very good job with author's notes. I just always love hearing where he came up with the idea from, how he developed it the way he did. And he is very good about being like, hey, y'all know when I put that part in there, that came from this guy. And this came from a conversation that I had with somebody about this. Just so good with doing the author's notes. I love it a lot. Anyway, I finished The Buffalo Hunter Hunter, and it was great. So I have 5 spaces left, and I'm going to be rolling a D4. So I know I'm not finishing it in this one. Let me get the dice. All right, here we go. Let's see how far we're going. Oh, I do get 4 spaces though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 20. Blue 20 is a country pick. Do I even have a country left? Here's everything I have left. I did read Full Metal Alchemist, so that is gone away. The Easy Life in Kamusari must be my last country pick. Let me see where that's set. Japan. Okay. So Yuki is just out of high school when his parents enroll him against his will in a forestry training program in the remote mountain village of Kamusari. No phone, no internet, no shopping. Just a small, inviting community where the most common expression is take it easy. At first, he's exhausted. Okay. But he's a city boy, it says, from Yokohama, wants to spend a year of his life in this place, the last place he does. But as things start to change, he feels differently about it. That's cute. In this warm and lively coming-of-age story, Miura transports us from the trappings of city life to the trials, mysteries, and delights of a mythical mountain forest. Okay, nice. So this I already have on my Kindle. It's 200 pages, just barely over 200. So that's going to be the next book that I'm going to read. All right. I'm going to put it way down here, and I'm almost done with this round. I will be back to let y'all know what I think about The Easy Life in Kamusari. Okay, y'all, it is March the 30th, and oh my gosh, I just decided to move that. I do not care about The Easy Life in Kamusari. It could be that it's an ebook, but also I just don't think I care about the story of what's going on in Kamusari. I'm gonna DNF it. I have been reading it, maybe like 9 or 10 pages a day, and that's it for like 4 days. And I've been having to force myself to read those pages. So it's about a guy. First of all, just listen to the very beginning of this. This boy is graduating. I don't know the equivalent of the schools in Japan, like what the years are, but in essence, he's graduating from high school, and he comes home and his dad says, okay, you have now been given, it's not even his dad, actually, hold on. It's like his counselor at school, like his school counselor, the equivalent. Okay. So everything I'm saying is in American high school. So the Japanese equivalent to this. And he says, you're not going to go to college. You're not going to go on to further school. So I've gotten you a job. His mom says, bye. Here's your bag packed. You need to go. Here's some money and you need to go. And that's it. He leaves. They give him a bus ticket. They tell him he has a job in Kamusari. He's like, where is that? And they're like, you ride this bus and then you get on this bus and then somebody will pick you up at the bus stop. Bye-bye. Like, it's the way it was written. It was like graduation day. Like he graduated. He was done with school. They were like, all right, get out the house. So then he gets there to this place and this rando dude is there to pick him up. And he's like, hey, are you Yuki? Oh, I think his name is Yuki because there's also somebody else named Yuri. And that's just ridiculous that their names are so similar. But anyway, he says, yeah, that's me. And he's like, great. Do you have a cell phone? Let me see it. He gives him his cell phone. Dude pulls the battery out of the cell phone and throws it like into the woods. And then puts his cell phone in his pocket. And he's like, all right, let's go. What? Like that's the beginning of every human trafficking story. Like, no. I don't want to read that. And then we just followed this guy as he's like training to learn how to build things. He's doing construction work with a construction crew. And at the beginning, they just drop him off at this house and dude's like, okay, I'll see you later. You're going to live here and learn. And then 1 month went by, like we skipped the whole month. And he was like, I did a lot of chopping of trees in that 1 month. Like, well, nothing else happened. Like there's not anything. And the guy that he was living with just dropped him off at some old man's house who made him soup. And that was it. Well, there's no discussion of like him getting paid. He did call his mom and talk to her on the telephone, but apparently it was a really short conversation. And she was like, okay, I'm glad you made it. The end. Like, could we go back and discuss that this man took his cell phone as soon as he got there? He said, you don't have any signal anyway. Listen here, man. I still have things on my cell phone, whether I have a signal or not. And I'm going to need you to never do that. Do it. I didn't like it. Anyway, so here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do to make up for that. I am going to read a book here at the end of the year. I'm just going to read a book. It's my last book. We'll call this 21. What is Blue 21? Not that I care. See, it's a state pick. Okay, well, this book is not going to be set in a state because I'm pretty sure it's a fantasy book. It's probably not set in anywhere. But if it is, I'll let you know. Anyway, I'm going to read Clockwork Boys. Clockwork Boys? I think that's what it's called. Right here by T. Kingfisher. Clock Tower War, book number 1, Clockwork Boys. Apparently it's a duology, and I have both books on Chirp. And so I was like, here we go. The very first line, a paladin, an assassin, a forger, and a scholar ride out of town. It's not the start of a joke, but rather an espionage mission with deadly, serious stakes. I'm so excited about it. I think it'll be fun. It says it's steampunk. Like, how did I not know that this was a thing I owned? And so I'm very excited about it. So I'm going to read that. And I'm going to go on a shopping trip. I don't know what I'm going to get. I might check out another little free library. I will probably end up just going to our local store downtown, the little indie bookstore that we have, and checking out stuff from there because I'm going to dinner in town the day after tomorrow. And so that's when I'll do that. And that's when I'll come back and tell you what I got. And I'll finish off the book quest TBR for the last time in Q1. So thank you for being understanding about the easy life in Commissary, me stopping that, and then it being the very, very end of March, heading into April, and I want to be done with this round of the game. So I'm just reading Clockwork Boys. I will come back and talk to y'all about that when I do my book shopping on the last day of March. I'll be back. Hi. So, I decided I'm not going to do the shopping spree / trip that I get to do at the end of my game. And that's because I ordered books. Like, I've been ordering books online. I don't know why. For some reason, I was thinking that didn't count because I didn't go out and buy the books, but it certainly counts. So I got 2 books from the NPR list that I'm going to be reading. This one is With My Dog Eyes by Hilda Hilst. It is about a Brazilian writer named Hilda Hilst. She lived from 1930 to 2004, and somebody is translating this work with my dog eyes. It is an account of an unraveling of sanity of language after experiencing a vision of what he calls a clear-cut, unhoped-for college professor. Amos Karras struggles to reconcile himself with his life as a father, a husband, and a member of the university with its meetings, pointless rivalries, gratuitous resentments, jealous talk, and megalomanias. A stunning book by a master of the avant-garde. So, I don't know, but I bought this book. I'm so glad it's so small, and I will be reading it. Speaking of small, I got The Diary of Edward the Hamster, 1990 to 1990. How tiny is this book? Anyway, that's going to be I'm reading them both in Q2 for my NPR books. 2 of the 4 NPR books, or 2 of the 6 NPR books. Anyway, I ordered them because I wanted physical copies of them because they're not written in a traditional novel format. So I wanted to have the physical copies of them to look at. So that is going to be my book haul for the last round of the Book Quest TBR for Q1. So I know this video is going up in Q2, but I finished reading everything in March. I just didn't get to go book shopping when I wanted to. And then I was like, I don't need to go book shopping. We are moving, and that always takes extra money that we don't anticipate it taking. And I was like, I have plenty of books that I need to read already. So instead of buying more, I'm going to show the ones that I already bought and then not spend any more money on new books right now. So these are the books I got. And unless I have already pre-ordered a book, I will not be buying any more books, probably through all of Q2 to get us moved and out of here. And then when we get to our new place, maybe after we pay the first month's rent, I will go on a shopping trip and just try to find bookstores in my new area where I live. So if any of you guys live in the greater Washington, D.C. area, or if you know about any bookstores that are there, I would like to know. I'm going to be on the Virginia side of things, but I mean, it's not that far of a drive, or I can ride the metro into D.C. and then deal with metro stops after that to find some places. So if you have any suggestions or know of any places, leave it down below. Otherwise, that's it. This is a wrap on Q1 TBR Quest. Leave me all your thoughts about how the TBR Quest went for you guys and for how you thought mine went. Liked me playing this game? What you thought about that? I want to hear all the thoughts. I want to chat about all the things down below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.